G'day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the podcast, and make sure you check out Butts Mom Premium, where you can catch another episode of the podcast just for the premium members. It's fucking amazing. It's uncensored. It's fucking cocks are out, dicks are swinging in the air. It's fucking unbelievable stuff. You will not believe what we got up to on Butts Mom Premium. No cocks are out. Just buttholes.
Just buttholes this week.
Buttholes this week.
Doodles next week.
Doodles next week. Make sure you're there. G'day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Butterfield Effect. My name's Isaac Butterfield. It's a pleasure to have you here. You can listen to this on iTunes, Spotify, and on YouTube. You can watch the whole video. You would know that if you are already watching this or listening to this, or, well, that's a pretty dumb thing for me to say at the start of the video. Anyway, we are here. Today's episode is with a mate of mine, a guy I've known for over a decade, Terry Collins. And Terry is... It's a very strange video to be a part of because Tez is a very manly man. He's a footballer.
Asking again. Collins! Terry Collins will score!
Woo! He's a great dude, everyone's favourite bloke, and he has come across some very tough times, some trying times at the moment, and has done for the past, coming up on a year. And Terry has what is being diagnosed as Lyme disease, and he's found it very difficult to have anyone in the country of Australia in the medical field actually give it that diagnosis. And it's been very strange for him trying to fight for a diagnosis. He is now a part. We were just speaking after the podcast. I'm recording this after because I didn't really know how to go into this one. Terry's not, a celebrity or someone who does interviews. So I thought I'd record this intro after the podcast. Terry, he starts off a little nervous and then opens up later on into the show. But, man, he is doing it very tough. So if there's anyone out there who has the similar symptoms to Tez, maybe have a real good listen to this. But also, if you can help him, please let him know. His GoFundMe is in the description below as well. Great dude, as I said, but really struggling. And I was shocked to hear how hard it was for him to do daily tasks. This man isn't sleeping. He can barely, through periods of time, he struggled to use the toilet by himself, things like that. And this is going from a dude who only a year and a half ago was playing footy, training every day, working full time, to be in this position from what is known as a disease from tick bites. He hasn't left the country in a few years. Does that mean the tick bite happened overseas and it lay dormant, or he was asymptomatic? I'm not sure. He did say to a specialist or a researcher rather who he's working with at the moment, he told me this after the show, that he thinks he may have got this from a place called Dudley, where I grew up in Newcastle here in Australia, in the bush there. And when he told this researcher that's where he thinks he got it, the researcher goes, another one from this area, this Newcastle, Central Coast up to Sydney area. So that was certainly interesting to hear. It's tough seeing a mate in this position. It really was. And Terry and I haven't been close over the last couple of years. And even when we were mates, we weren't very close friends. We've always been, sort of mates like, hey, how you going? Catching up, have a beer or whatever, and then move on to the rest of the pub or whatever. But fuck, it's tough. This was a tough podcast, and I hope you'll give it the time of day, even though it may not concern you, Lyme disease. But I really hope that this somehow gives it the time of day that it really deserves, because this is a young man in the fight of his life, and we need to support him as a channel and as a community. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my conversation with the great Terry Collins. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Terry Collins. Tez, thanks for joining us, big fella. How you travelling, mate?
Thanks for having me, mate. Yeah, getting there.
Mate, I wanted to have you on because I've known you for the best part of a decade, if not longer, and the last 18 months to 2 years has been a great challenge for you and your family, and something that I had no idea about. I know a lot of people didn't quite know about. Bluey wanted to be on the show today too. He ended up getting on the piss too hard last night and is crook, but being an absolute hero. But we wanted to hear from you and sort of try to understand what has been going on. For those of you who don't know Terry, which I assume is most of you, he doesn't really have an online presence, but is one of the funniest people that I've ever met, known well round for being one of the funniest people in the area that we're in. We've played footy together, been around the traps for a long time, and recently a GoFundMe was created for you on the back of a diagnosis of Lyme disease or the thought of Lyme disease?
Yeah, so just with that, it's been hard to even get sort of noticed. I've been told not to even say that. It's a Lyme-like illness, I suppose, is where we're at with a name for it at the moment.
Can we go back to the very beginning, perhaps? You're a very fit person, a very active person. What happened? What got you in this position? If you can run everyone through your entire story, that would be great.
Yeah, so I was just playing football as usual last year, working full time. Everything's normal, going to the gym for 3-4 days a week. Yeah, eat generally healthy, and then it was on November 24th. Just was normal day. Went to work. I think I even went to gym like that afternoon. Felt fine. It was about 9:30 at night. Just going to the toilet before bed. Went to stand up, and just like felt lightheaded. Fell back sort of onto the toilet. Heart was absolutely racing, probably like 130 or so, I'd say. And then just felt really sick, like sweaty, like sort of maybe food poisonish sort of stuff. Felt extremely uncomfortable. But it was sort of late at night, and then it sort of settled after 10 minutes. So I thought, I'll go to the doctor tomorrow, see what the go is. Got up the next day and just had to lay down pretty much all day. My balance was completely gone. Couldn't stand up to sort of make breakfast or anything like that. Just completely off balance. Had to lay down all day. It took me a few days just to be able to go in and get into the doctor. But that was the start of it in November. And then just from there, it's been pretty crazy. Just wrote a few things down. Just my memory at the moment pretty much lost as well. But from there, went to the doctor. I've had a rough trot just with even GPs and other specialists and things like that. It's been pretty hard. So I went to my first doctor. Told me that if I still felt sick, this had been 3 days. He said if you still feel the same over the weekend, come back next week. So he couldn't really help much out there. Waited sort of another 3 days, went and saw him again. He said the same thing. So I changed doctors. It was kind of like he didn't even do any tests really. He just sort of said, I'll try and rest up. I went to another doctor, but at the time it was COVID was still sort of kicking off, so it was about a 4-week wait. Just to get into another doctor. Well, this was sort of happening.
Sorry to interrupt. For this 4 weeks, you're basically in bed the entire time.
Yeah, so I got into the next doctor on the 22nd of December, so it was pretty much bang on a month. I was just really dizzy. I wasn't quite bedbound at that point for the first month. I was just really off balance and dizzy, and I was getting random sort of chest pain, heart palpitations, but they were sort of short-lived. But the dizziness I've had since November, it's been one of the first symptoms that's been continuing. So it was a month of that pretty much. Would have to struggle to do anything. Sort of stop driving only if I sort of desperately needed something. If my partner she was still going to work, I just obviously had no idea what was going on. So I was sort of into Christmas time. Changed doctors, so there's 4 weeks gone. She just was, new doctor was a lot more helpful, so we needed tests for a lot of things. Let's get, all sorts of bloods done. I remember doing multiple blood tests for her, probably like 6 different ones over the course of a few months. Just and then in between all of it, January I had like CT scan, MRI on my brain. Just had these chronic headaches, like ringing in the ears, just like unbearable sort of headaches where you just sort of have to lay in a dark room for like hours on end. Got all my head checked out. Everything was fine. Had a couple of emergency visits with the heart palpitations. Both times they told me I was just dehydrated, which was, and I told them I'd been sick for like, I think it was sort of 8 to 12 weeks in between both of those visits. But everything just kept coming back normal. Bloods are normal, organs are normal. There's no, all brain scans coming back fine. So there'd been, 2.5 months at this stage. So the doctor thought we'd just try and sort of nail down each symptom as we go. So the heart palpitations were worse at that time. So we decided to see a cardiologist. Had to wait another 4.5 weeks for that. Just the whole time, just not knowing. Pretty much this is when the bedbound stuff sort of started, maybe like February, March. Just can't get out of bed. If I do, sort of sit up, dizzy, off balance, feeling sick, just like, hot, cold sweats, muscle aches began. And then just each month it just seems to sort of get worse and worse. So then, in March, April, the cardiologist stuff was all good. Then I wore like a heart monitor for a month. So that was another month, sort of just wasting time, I guess. April, got more tests. Feeling nauseous, like chronic headache, heart palpitations, chronic neck pain, aching legs. Can't do anything pretty much but lay down. So then, because my neck was getting so bad, I was going to physio regularly, things like that. Then I had a rheumatologist visit. She thought that was something to do with maybe something around my neck, maybe pinched nerves, something causing brain and heart, bit of a, I don't know, some sort of something going on. But rheumatologist was, I got really let down there. That was, just had a really poor experience with most of the specialists and with the emergency visit and things like that. Rheumatologist told me to stop investigating why I feel sick. That's probably what's making me sick. So pretty much just told me to, he said, why don't you try and get back into the gym and head back to work? I'd been off for 4 months at this time. So he just, I don't know, for anyone to be off work for 4 months or sick for 4 months, it was, I don't know, it was just gut-wrenching at the time. I left there in tears.
And you're not some bloke who's, lived their life as someone in a shell or anything like this. For me, knowing Terry, I know this, but you're an active dude. You're a big dude. You're a strong and powerful, masculine man. For someone to tell you that you're full of shit, like that's not even full of shit, but you're creating this drama in your own head. Like that's got to fucking not break your spirits, but just come close.
Yeah, no, it sort of hit me then, like what, like knowing what I sort of know now, just what other people have gone through is nothing worse than just a kick in the guts. Like I'd been sick, like chronically ill for 4 months at the time, and for him just to tell me like not to worry about it. And the worst part was like they specialise in arthritis.
Yeah.
And my neck, I've had a lot of problems with my neck through footy and stuff like that, but I've just sort of kept on top of it with physio and like a lot of gym work. I do sort of look after myself quite well, I used to. And then I went to after I got out of that appointment, pretty much just and I asked him, I said, do we need to do any tests? Would you like me to come back? He said, no, just, get back into what you were doing. You should be fine. So he's had no testing done, no nothing, and just said, on your way. And then I went and just had an x-ray because I was seeing a chiropractor at times. My neck's with just the pain was just getting so severe. And then she found like chronic arthritis just after the first X-ray, and that's what the rheumatologist specialises in. And he felt my neck, things like that, asked me about all the pain. I said it was chronic, it's really sore. Has to even lay flat, like it's just sore all the time. And just for him to not do his sort of job, specific, like something that he specialises in. But just to be told to, on your way after being sick for so long.
So when he told you that, like, I think maybe was he considering that this is more of a psychological problem? Do you think it was all? He just sort of went and said just all your muscle aches and things. It's probably fibromyalgia. Okay.
I said, fair assumption, but I just said, do you have any, other ideas on my heart palpitations, my headaches, a range of other symptoms that I'm getting? And, it's just, he said, no, like, I'm not too sure about that, but just for your pain stuff, it's probably fibromyalgia. And, it can sometimes, he said a lot of the time, it can just be in your head. A lot of people just, overthink things. So he just told me that was it. He doesn't want to see me, didn't need to see me again. $300 out the door, and then got nowhere there. So but I got how I sort of found it was pretty lucky. Started sort of late April. By that point, I'd been going to physio for my neck as well, just because it was just so bad. Went to Sharps Physio just in Charlestown there. Can't thank him enough. Lockie Harmon, who was working there. I was seeing another physio at the time, so I'm pretty lucky that Lockie sort of overheard things. I'd been going for a few weeks and had a lot of symptoms, problems like balance, everything was quite ill. Struggling to drive there. I was only ever driving to appointments, and then sometimes I'd have to wait in the car, sort of 20, 30 minutes till I could drive back home. There was one or two times I had to leave my car and get a lift and then pick it up at another time.
Is that balance-wise?
Just and just like sort of a lot of fatigue stuff. Like the sun would sort of hit my eyes and make me sort of want to fall asleep nearly straight away. I couldn't keep my eyes open. Sensitivity to light, sound, things like that started coming in. With the physio stuff, I was just seeing one of the physios there, and then Lockie just overheard he was working on another patient, just said, have you tested for Lyme disease? And I said, I'm pretty sure my doctor would have tested for that, because I ended up doing 10, 11, 12 different visits to her and doing a different test every time, whether it be 10 sort of vials of blood to test for whatever we were going for, and just everything was coming back normal. And so went to my doctor that week and just said, what else can we test for? And she said, we've tested for pretty much everything, it's come back normal. So she just went along the path again. So we did the cardiologist, rheumatologist. So she said, all right, for your balance stuff, how about we see a neurologist? I said, okay, that makes sense. But why is all this other stuff happening if both specialists have said, everything's all good? So I was just still lost, and just to be like feeling so ill for months and just still getting nowhere. Sort of hard to take. So I asked her about a Lyme test, and she sort of was like, okay, like if you want to, like, have you been overseas? Did you get bitten overseas at all? And I said, I've been overseas before, but not for probably 2-3 years. And she said, I wouldn't worry about that then. So we'll just go for the neurologist. And I said, I'd just like to test it anyway, because I said, what do we have to lose? Because we've tested for everything else. I had no idea what it was. Had people mention it, like I had my partner's mother said it as well. But I just had no idea. So I was like, I don't know what that is. And I'd already, I've tried to Google myself symptoms for the 4 months or whatever it was at the time. So, I was sort of over looking stuff up and trying to diagnose myself. But, so then the doctor sort of said, how about, how about we just do the neurologist stuff? And I said, oh, okay, yeah, let's do the Lyme anyway. And she said, okay, well, seeing as you're asking for it, and I don't think it's necessary, you'll have to pay for it all sort of off your own back, just because she hasn't requested it. And I said, yeah, that's fine, no dramas. We'll just get it done so we can sort of see what comes back from that. So she called me back 2 days later and said, oh, it's positive. So you've got positive for Lyme disease, not can you come in tomorrow? And I was thinking, yeah, okay, no dramas, that sounds good. Like such a weight was off my shoulders at the time. For 4.5 months searching.
Yeah.
She's told me they found something, brilliant. Now I can sort of, go just heavy on whatever I need to recovery-wise. Knew nothing about it, just figured, 3-4 weeks antibiotics and, back to whatever I want to do, back in the gym, doing whatever. So I got in there day after. She rang and said, yeah, we've got a positive for Lyme. And then she said, but don't worry about that. It's always a false positive, 90% of the time false positive. So it's good that we did that, but I wouldn't worry about it. And I said, well, why? What's the point of doing it if we got a positive and you're not worried about that? So just sort of shrugged it off, booked a neurologist appointment, and then I was like, okay, because obviously you think that doctors and specialists and things sort of know best. Like, I don't know any different. If she says it's false positive, I'm happy to. And then I was sort of happy to believe it. Maybe it's, maybe it is just in my head. Maybe I can just get better as soon as I sort of can. But yeah, so it was like a big weight off, and then same day, like big weight back on within 24 hours of not knowing what to do or what's wrong with me. Am I crazy? Not being able to do anything for that amount of time just has put so much pressure on just my partner, people helping out with me. Just started to have to rely on other people as I felt that was sort of my job.
Yeah. It's a massive change in your life, without a doubt. You've gone from, as I said before, a strong man who does it all, to now having to rely on other people. Like, that's got to be a tough pill to swallow, alongside constantly trying to find answers, and then having doctors say, no, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. It's not this. It's all in your head. Where did you go from the positive Lyme test? Where did you go from there? Do we come back to that?
So then it was just a lot of my own sort of research. I left her office that day and thought, how could something come up positive if, there's nothing sort of, so like, I'm no expert, but I meant like your body creates antibodies for things. So if you're sick with something, that's how they get a positive. So I thought if something's come up, like it has to be something. Or then I started Googling, like, what can a Lyme positive be? Like, is this going to be something else, another disease, another this, that, whatever it might be. And then just found all these articles on false positives being wrong. The test I completed is like 40% accurate.
Right.
It's rare that it comes up positive, even when people are positive. And then just started, just down a rabbit hole for probably 48 hours of just finding groups, people that then just found the amazing Lyme community that pretty much only have sort of each other, things like that, just to rely on. And then it was crazy from there. Just started messaging people, found the Lyme Disease Australia Association, and just said, can I do another sort of test? Things like that. They were amazing, sent me so many things. So I ended up having to do my own blood tests, all while the GP is sort of saying, like, you're wasting your time, it's false positive. So then that's how a lot of people get stuck, and probably still are stuck now, not knowing just what's wrong. They like the Australian tests are just so just poor, just low accuracy rates. So if that didn't come back positive, I still wouldn't know what to search for, because I just if something gets, given back negative, why would you follow it up?
I mean, even if the physio Lockie, who's also my physio, didn't mention it, Lockie's a great dude, and thank Christ he did. So I don't understand, and this is, I'm sure you haven't wrapped your head around this either. Why, if there's one false positive, why is there no other tests that they go to confirm a diagnosis? Like, this just seems like such a waste of time if that is the case. Like, if they're so stringent in their ideology that, hey, if you get a false positive on this, doesn't matter. It's still it's bullshit. Like, why would they even do
have
it?
The test?
Why?
Yeah.
Surely there's another way to triple check it. Like, if you get HIV, if you get and they think it's a false positive, they're going to do the test again, or they're going to try something else.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I was going from being hesitant to do the test, and then had to do it off my own sort of back, only because a physio mentioned it. So the GP thought I was crazy. So I've said, my physio mentioned this. Can we test for that? And, what would the GP sort of be going off what I wanted? So I had to do that myself, and then just all the other stuff. Found out just so many things. I got told when trying to ring around for so I'll go back to so we had to pay for my own bloods. Wanted to do all that research myself, so it was about $1,000 worth of tests. Some go overseas and things like that, just because they got better facilities and things like that. And then I sent some to Victoria as well. It's like my doctor as of now, uses a clinic down there, and it's like specific for this sort of stuff. It's the only one in Australia that I'm aware of. But there's others that are around, but just the testing is really poor. So a lot of people get their blood sent over to Germany or America, things like that. A lot of overseas places, but so I spent about $1,000 just on getting some tests, and then they were like another 4 weeks to come back. Did a lot of my own research on Lyme and some of the symptoms. And I remember reading like a 15 check sort of checklist, and I had like 14 of the 15 things. So I was like, it has to be this. So then I just started chasing it up pretty hard. Even with no one's help, really. Like GPs sort of said, it's not that, don't worry about it. Specialists have said it can't be that. So I just a lot of my own research, and then I asked the doctor, I said, people take antibiotics for this. This is what I think I've got. So I took another probably 3 or 4 visits with the GP, and I was telling her what I wanted to do, what I wanted to take, just to see. She was pretty hesitant. She didn't want to put me on antibiotics as all my levels were normal, but I was still just... And then nearly sort of every week a new symptom would pop up. And sometimes, majority of the time now, I just get a lot of them all at once.
You said yesterday, we wanted to do the podcast yesterday, and you said yesterday you had a few new symptoms arise.
Probably the last 14 days. I don't know what's happening. I'm still waiting to hear back from a specialist doctor. I've had a lot of... just my brain is just inflamed to a pretty extreme extent. I can't remember much. I get whole body tremors. That's only been starting the last fortnight, so it was only last week. I'm still new to this sort of symptom, but it's like a whole, just a body tremor, basically like a seizure, pretty much.
Yep.
So my partner had to carry me to bed. And it was like a blur. I don't remember getting into bed or anything like that. Just had like uncontrollable shaking, head to toe for maybe like an hour. This is just one of the new symptoms. And but the last sort of 3 months, it sort of robbed me of my sleep. So just getting back into so I found a. Sorry if I'm going back and forth.
No, not at all. I just wanted to clear one thing up.
What I just said.
Just one thing, Tez. We were speaking about a lot of the testing is done in the Northern Hemisphere, and this is seen as a if I'm right. Like basically, the top half of the world has this disease, and a lot of people see this as something that we don't have in Australia. Is that fair in saying?
Yeah, that's the thing. So the government train general practitioners in a way that, informing them that it's not here.
Yes.
So it's it's no like, I can't blame my GP for telling me that it's not that, because that she's been trained that it's not in this country. So why would you check for something that isn't here? So I completely understand the frustration there. And when I was going back to my GP from my specialist Lyme doctor who I see, who even on that front is, I've been told to not even mention who my doctor is on Lyme. Don't mention why they're treating you for Lyme. They can get shut down. Wow. Only an infectious disease specialist can diagnose and treat it. So GPs can't actually diagnose it.
Have you seen an infectious disease expert?
There was a 9-month wait or something like that to get in to see one. So that's, how can you wait around that long?
Fuck, I tell you, if there's anyone listening that can get Terry through to someone like that, please contact me and I'll pass you on. Like, that's to not wait 9 months when you're in your predicament. Well, that's madness.
Yeah. So the thing is now, so I had to find so it was, where we're at now, it's probably like middle of May. I'm back at the doctor's and I'm screaming out for medication for Lyme. Just reading online, 6 weeks of this, couple of antibiotics, people have come good. Things like that, I thought, awesome, this is just a bad bug and I can knock it off in a month and a half. And then just sort of, so I found some, found out online what people take. Was telling my doctor about it. She was sort of hesitant. And then I, just started treating myself. I just got some antibiotics, through some friends, things like that. People had just ways of getting it. Just started treating myself. Did that for about 3 weeks, and then the doctor finally came around. I was just telling her what I was doing. I said, I'm getting this medication. I've already started taking it. I didn't know what else to do, but I wanted to just keep her in the loop of what I was doing in case anything was to happen. So then she said, okay, how about we try these other two that they use them for acne as well. So she just wanted to use a couple other meds, just so, ones that she was familiar with and things like that. So I was pretty much just off my own research, kind of, I guess had to start treating myself, and then she was kind of forced into sort of just trying to help because we had no other option, I guess. So then at that point I started ringing around for Lyme specialist doctors. And at this point, like, I had a lot of my symptoms. I could barely do anything. Like, going to the toilet was a task. Like, still is at the moment, but it just depends what symptoms I've got each day, or every few hours it can change quite rapidly. So then, so I had to the Lyme Disease Australia Association. Sent through like a lot of links for a lot of different doctors. There was like 8 or 9 on the list, and they were pretty scarce. Like, that was across the whole of Australia. So first doctor I rang, asked for availability. This was middle of May. They said, we can fit you in on 9th of September. So that was like just too long, I thought, like 4 or 5 month wait, whatever it was. Rang another doctor. They closed their books. Third doctor closed their books. And these were all docs. One was at Byron Bay, one's North Queensland, Northern Territory, and then there was like 3 in New South Wales. But it took a couple of days to get onto them. So finally found one. And then they said we can fit in like end of August. I was like, okay, it's the best I've got at the moment. So explained my situation over the phone, and just from what I was told, don't explain Don't say that you have Lyme disease or you suspect it. Just tell the doctor your symptoms, things like that. So it's just like a secret society sort of thing. Like I felt just so lost. I just figured when you're sick, go to the doctor and you get help. But just to get told not to mention it. Lyme disease isn't here, so you have a Lyme-like illness. Could be something completely different, and then just going. Then finally, my doctor in Sydney finally got down there and just explained to her my symptoms. And she said, it's like I'm 90% sure it's Lyme just off your symptoms, but I'm going to do all the blood tests just to make sure. And even just basic ones that she got back, she sort of knew straight away just from having the knowledge. She's been overseas, things like that, studied it, been to lectures in America and all sorts of things. She's actually not even like an Australian certified GP because she likes to use medication that's also not available in Australia, things like that. So, it's like a deep dive into trying to just help myself as best I can, but with just limited knowledge. And so my new doctor at the moment's been amazing, and I'm just sort of passing feedback to my normal GP as well, and she's just learning a lot more and just said, it is tough for them because they're not allowed to diagnose it.
Yeah.
So,
well, as you said, it doesn't exist for them. And I was reading before we got on this call, I was reading some of the New South Wales health fact sheets, and they're like, when you get the test results, it's said on this fact sheet, it's not Lyme disease. It might be something similar, but it's not Lyme, which is so strange.
I feel it's just finding a name for it because I feel they don't call it Lyme because that's like the American version or something like that because it's supposed to originate from Lyme in Connecticut or something like that, the town of Lyme. Right. Or whatever it may be. So that's why it's just a Lyme-like illness. They can't call it Lyme because the government says it's not here, so you can't call it something that, if they say it doesn't exist, how can you give it a name? So it's just Lyme-like illness, and then even that's getting sort of question marks on what we should be saying now. It's like a vector-borne illness just because there's no certainty it was from a tick, or I think they're starting to find out it can be transferred with mosquitoes, lice, things like that. So, I never even had a bite mark or anything like that.
Because it is from, for people who don't know, it's a tick-borne illness, Lyme disease. That's what they put it down to, mainly in America off deer. Is that correct in saying?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different ticks that carry different diseases. So people don't just get bitten by two different ticks and have the exact same sort of disease and problems. They can come with co-infections. So you don't just get Lyme disease. You get Lyme and then you get co-infections as well. There's a few different ones. I've got Bartonella as well as Lyme disease, and it causes all my neurological issues. The longer I sort of leave it and things like that, that's why in the last 2 weeks I've just developed sort of new symptoms. The longer you leave it, the worse it can get, sort of things with this sort of stuff. So, with the Bartonella, it leaves me with like lower leg pain, like aching, unbearable pain. So much so it feels like my legs are numb. So I pretty much lay down all day, and all I can do is sort of sit around. Most of my balance issues I think are from the Bartonella, but sort of Lyme does some similar things as well. So it's kind of like a double whammy. But there's other ones like Babesia and a few other dirty infections that you can get, and some people get more co-infections and things like that as well. So I'm still like extremely new to all this. Some people are sick for 3, 4, 5 years before they get a diagnosis because of the testing in Australia, and that honestly frightens me. I'm coming up to sort of 12 months, and I've had some of the darkest days you could imagine. And for people just to be left in the dark.
I can't imagine what it's like to have something so severe happening in your life and no one believes you. No one, and not even believes you, but says that you are completely wrong. In everything you're saying, you're completely wrong. Like, you're mad.
Yeah, so then when I finally start chasing things up, people start saying, oh, hey, what's, are you still sick? Sort of thing, like, it's been so long. Yeah, I've got a Lyme-like illness, I sort of suppose. People say, oh, Lyme disease, and they say, well, like, you've actually got it. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
It's not here, sort of thing. So it's just, like, I'd never heard of it. And other people that had, they'd said, oh, but it's not here, sort of thing. So anyone who'd heard of it that I knew just said, oh, did you get it overseas or something like that? I said, well, obviously not, because I haven't been anywhere. We've been locked down. So, and then as well, there's like thousands of letters to the government written from people that have been sick for years. They've had doctors like test for it, get the positives, and then they said, have you ever been overseas? And these are from people that have never left the country. There's thousands of letters just stating, that they've got it and it's here. You can find tick maps on the Lyme Disease Association website of where people have been bitten and developed all these symptoms. It's pretty much around the coast of Australia, and just still, I don't know why. It's just being pushed back. I don't know if it's because people aren't dropping dead from it or what needs to happen, but people have died from this. And people just, if they don't get the right help, they just remain extremely chronically sick for the rest of their life. And just the help isn't here and the knowledge around it. So I did sort of 6 weeks of the antibiotics, and that just made me worse, if anything. My liver and stomach got inflamed. I was on 3 different antibiotics on high doses. So now I've been off those for maybe 10 weeks, and I've still got an inflamed liver. It's left me with gastrointestinal problems, constipation. My sleeps, I get between 1 and 4 hours a night with sleeping medication. I'm on like 20 sort of tablets a day with other supplements, CBD oil. I have some low dose seizure medication just to help with the brain inflammation. I do a lot of try and help myself a lot by doing infrared saunas twice a week. I do oxygen chamber therapy 3 times a week, and I do colon irrigation fortnightly. And I'm just still slowly deteriorating. I've been on a strict diet as well, dairy-free, keto, so pretty much just lean meat and veg. Can't have any gluten, dairy, anything like that. Just brings on all sort of sensitivities to insides. I've got just noise, light sensitivity, and just generally feel, just off, so off from myself. I haven't felt myself in months.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not going to say this in a way that I can, I have experienced what you've experienced, but me with my seizures, I remember how strange it was having something happen to you and having these feelings that you can't control, and then desperately trying to find the answers. And then doctors saying, oh, you don't have this or you do have that, waiting months to get into a neurologist, only to be told, yeah, you might have something. Because a lot of these things, and even with the seizure stuff, like I've never been fully diagnosed because they've never caught it on an EEG. So
yeah,
it's one of those things.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like when you are having these problems, like I'd say I'd had racing heart palpitations and just feels like a heart attack. And they're asking me how high was your heart rate? And I was like, that was the last thing on my mind was,
Yeah.
checking my. I thought I was going to die. Like I'm screaming out to my partner to call an ambulance, and you want me to check, just sit down and check my heart rate. So I know, I hear you from that perspective, like. Yeah, and just not catching things. Yeah, they're like, oh, well, what was happening at the time? Like, you're pretty much delirious when I have a big episode. So, yeah, I know what you mean there.
Yeah, and I developed outside of it, like severe anxiety, driving was impossible, all that type of shit, stuff that I got on top of after 2 years. But for 2 years of my life, I was a mess, and a completely different person to the one that people knew me as. So I didn't have the symptoms that you had, and I'm not comparing myself to your issue at all, but I can understand from a point of view of everything goes from everything being great, wonderful, and fantastic, and then it just sort of crumbles into this thing that you wish you could just go back. And I just want to tell you this as a mate, that you will find light at the end of the tunnel at some point. And you look back on your dark days and go, we got through it, and it was fucking tough and it was horrible, but we got through it. And you're doing the right things. You're being proactive. You're getting stuff done. Your partner, I won't mention a name. I don't know if you want to mention names or anything like that. I know it's a bit of a weird conversation as far as with doctors and partners and all that type of stuff. So I won't mention a name, but she's doing an amazing job. You've got a big supporting group around you who wants to see you get through this. And now you've got a doctor that's sort of got you on the right track. You're not getting knocked back all the time. And I hope that through this podcast that you will help other people in your position, others, not just with Lyme disease, but with chronic illnesses, ones that change the course of people's lives. And I want people to check out your GoFundMe, and if they have a spare couple of bucks, to get behind Terry and help him put this disease behind him and help him get to the point where he wants to be, where he can go back to being the person that he has been for his entire life. And Terry's a young bloke, and he's got a long life ahead of him, and this is a hurdle in it, but it is a hurdle that he'll get over. And with everyone's support and with your attitude too, Terry, and I feel certainly sorry for people in your position who didn't have access to the internet, or at the very least the intelligence to go out and try and question doctors. Because doctors, they try their hardest, but who knows how long ago they completed a medical degree, or are they staying up to date on the latest research? They don't have time to do that. They're seeing, you for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. They've got to rush you through and see the next person. It's a job like any other. I mean, fuck. So what is the treatment now for you?
Well, I'm on some. I'm not taking anything for Lyme at the moment.
Okay.
My doctor, she thought the Bartonella was worse than the Lyme. So I'm on a medication she's only used for 10 months. So I asked her, how does it work? She said she didn't really know. She's going off other reports from the USA, things like that, some university studies from over there and different things. So she's nearly guessing, but just sort of she's trying to keep up to date as much as she can with current sort of treatments and things like that. So it's just like a helps oxidize the blood. So I think the Bartonella hates like oxygen-rich environments. That's why I thought I'd try out the oxygen tanks. So that's just off my own back. Like there's no research behind that. The doctor said it might help, might not. So I found some studies on doing up to sort of 30 sessions, hour-long sessions in there. Just up to about 20 odd at the moment, and I don't think it's having an effect, which is disappointing, but I just have to try new things. But yeah, she's just got me on the medication at the moment. I've been on it for maybe sort of 6 weeks, a bit longer, and I've had no change. I've gone downhill, if anything. So it's fair to say that's probably not working. So on to the next thing. But yeah, main goal is to get over to Mexico. There's clinics in Germany, Mexico, and some other places that do a certain sort of treatments called hypothermia treatment. They sort of knock you out, heat your body up to a really high temperature. I think it's like 41.6 or something like that. So I think it's 4 or 5 degrees over what your normal sort of body temperature is, and that sort of opens up all your vessels and stops the disease from hiding anywhere. So I think that's why it's so hard to get rid of. It's like a really just a bad thing. Just like it just hides really well. So it gets into cells and tricks your body into thinking that it's safe or good for you, and just sort of gets into everywhere. So it starts off in your blood, and that's how you just feel a bit off and things like that. And then it just crosses into your organs, so your heart and your brain and other things like that, and just causes a multitude of issues. But the treatment in Mexico, which is sort of where I'm striving for, they do like a whole body approach. They do dental, because if you have any sort of small infections and things like that in your body, you'll never heal. So you have to sort of make sure everything is sort of at 100%, and then do all this sort of treatment. So they'll use various sort of antibiotics. I think I'll do 2 hypothermia treatments. I'm trying to get over there in the next month or 2, but there's just no flights at the moment. So I got exemption to go about 10 days ago, but just no flights at the moment. So and just on that, I'm pretty sure they have the same machines here in Australia, but they don't have the authority to turn them up to the temperature that we need. So that's just like another kick in the guts. Like, there's machines in Queensland, from what I read, that are the exact same, but they're just not allowed to turn them up. I think they turn them up to 39 degrees, and some cancer patients find some benefit in that treatment. And then for Lyme specifically, I've just read some other people and know a few people now that have been overseas, and you need to get up to that 41.5 sort of temperature to have any sort of success. So it's just really frustrating knowing that that machine is here and it's just not getting used the way it should be, just due to government restrictions.
So what do you need to get over to Mexico now?
Well, we can fly there, but there's no flights back.
Right.
So therefore I can't get there because America won't let you in, or I've got to go to. But the problem with all that is I can't have the vaccine either, just due to my health. And then flying to LAX, is a huge hazard for me. They're finding a lot of similarities with COVID and Lyme, with inflammation and things like that. So I'd be extremely susceptible to just getting extremely ill if I was to get COVID. Just my immune system is, feels like it's at 1%. Just traveling. So I've got to try and find a way to get over there with the least amount of contact with people as possible. So I think, my specialist doctor was talking about maybe some ivermectin or something like that, rather than the vaccine. She just said, you'll have to try and get overseas, get the special treatment done, so then you can have the vaccine. It's just too sort of risky at the moment with my health. But then again, it's so risky to be travelling and to catch COVID. I don't know what it would do. Potentially kill me, I'd say, because it seems to be knocking off people with underlying issues, which is obviously what I've got.
Fuck. I mean, the fact that they have it here and they're not doing it is just insane.
When I found that out, that was pretty heartbreaking. It was, the thought of an hour flight up to Queensland and potential fix, or, at least some sort of help. And then I even rang them around, said, can I get an exemption? What can you do? And I must have thought I was, ahead of the pack, because obviously everyone else has probably tried that. But it's just a no-go.
Is there the potential to I mean, this is two questions. Is there potential to take them to court, request this for a experimental treatment, or is there the potential to, as COVID restrictions open up and there's more flights around, as we get to this 80% New South Wales and Australia, there might be more flights around. I mean, obviously there's still the risk for you catching the disease. Is there more potential for flights, therefore it will be easier for you, or is that still going to be the main risk being the actual disease itself?
Well, that's the thing. I just kind of need some flights to open up so we can get over there fine. There seems to be a flight nearly every day going to LAX, but the ones home are, I think they're only letting on, 3-4 people at a time. So there's a bit of a backlog on people coming back in to the country. So I think we could book something, but it's just months away. Whereas, I need to go over yesterday, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So, and with just how sort of sick I am, and just new symptoms popping up, like I'm scared I won't make it, sort of thing. Just don't sleep. It's been like for 3 months. And then just all the other symptoms on top, it's just extremely difficult to do anything. So my partner's turned into my carer now. It's hard to deal with.
Yeah. I mean, obviously with the meds not helping, and did you see any benefit from the diet change, the CBD, any of those? Did you see any benefit from that?
Yeah, very minor from the diet. I was having extreme nausea, stomach aches, just with any sort of sugar or carbohydrate. So there was one day specific, I just remember having I was eating pretty clean, just meat, veg, fruit, that was it. And then just certain fruits were leaving me just in agony, like stomach-wise. I remember there was one day I just had a green apple specifically, and I just felt so sick, just felt like throwing up, and just had stabbing pains in my stomach just from an apple. So then there's not too much known about dieting with this sort of thing. Like, everyone's different as well.
Sure.
Some people don't have any issues. Some can get pretty chronic. So I've just got a lot of problems around sugar and any carbs that turn into sort of sugars, anything like that. So that's why I just chose to do keto. That was off no one's recommendation. That was just off. I was speaking to my stepdad. He cured his diabetes with just sticking to keto. He went from 2 insulin shots a day to having none he hasn't had it in 12 months. So I thought, looked into keto, and it seems to be the diet for anyone with, majority of illnesses seem to benefit from, low sugar.
Well, I've personally eaten a keto diet for several years with my epilepsy issues, and it's been great for me, for weight loss, all those type of things. And this may seem like a ridiculous thing to say for a lot of people, and probably people in the comments might freak out, but I know that there's a lady by the name of Michaela Peterson who is a proponent of the carnivore diet, and she's had severe issues with arthritis. She had ankle replacements, knee replacements that she swears by that she's cured with just eating meat. I don't know if that's something that you would even consider. Maybe it's some research further on, but that's certainly something that I've got her on the podcast on Thursday. I might even ask her if that's all right with you, if she's had any patients or any people, maybe not patients is the right word, but any people who sort of are involved in her community with with Lyme disease or a Lyme-like illness. Maybe there could be something there. I don't know, but
definitely. Yeah. So it was just around the diet stuff. The only reason I did that was because of my stepdad's. He has, like I said, he's basically cured his diabetes. If he has a few carbs or sugars here and there, it does sort of just nearly come back. So he just sticks to keto, has done for probably 2-3 years now, and he hasn't had insulin in 12 months. So
wow.
Yeah, just around the diet stuff is pretty unknown. Like I said, with this stuff, some people have issues, some don't. So I just chose dairy-free keto. Just so anything, so it's a lot of inflammatory issues. just any inflammatory foods just make me like 10 times worse.
Yeah. Well, Tez, I mean, we want people to check out the GoFundMe. We want to get you as much cash as possible to get you overseas and get you the best treatment. Where can people find that? I'll put the link down below.
Yeah, just and just on that, like I've never been one to sort of ask for help or want help, and I'm still not. If there's probably people watching this obviously don't know me. Go and find someone else with the same issues. They need money as well. The Lyme Disease Association of Australia website, it's run by volunteers who have been sick, and they just want to help other people in a similar position. So, donate whatever you want to give to me, give to that website as well, and just other people in a similar circumstance. It's hard to just get awareness around there. So that website needs all the help they can get. Like I said, volunteer run, and I'll be definitely helping you out once I sort of get on top of this, and I'm going to sort of push to really really help anyone else that this tragically happens to.
All right, brother. Well, thank you very much for your time. We'll get you back on in a couple of months and stay on top of it. And we wish you all the very best of luck. And if there's anything that we can do as a community, please don't hesitate to ask. We're thinking of you, mate, and we'll be right behind you the whole way.
Yeah, thanks heaps, Bart. Thanks for having me on, mate. It means a lot. Just to everyone watching, keep the ones close to you tight, things like that. Don't stress about the little things, I guess. With my life, how it is at the moment, I just cherish just being able to see my partner and things each morning. Don't stress about anything, and just hug the ones close to you, and you never know what can happen. So at any time, just look after yourselves and love the ones who are close to you.
All right, mate. We love you, mate. We're thinking of you, okay?
Cheers, bud. Thank you.